on Nova 100.
Hey, big day today, Clint, here in Victoria. Police are walking off the job.
It's going to impact the Police Academy in Glenwave and also the Broadmeadows Police Station. It's an escalation of the industrial action the Police Association and police officers are taking. They're looking for a pay rise, a substantial pay rise, up 24% in some instances.
Whether they want 24, you know how it's, you're always going with a high number and meet halfway.
Give it to them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
I
ask
think
me.
there was an offer on the table not so long back of 16%.
Right.
It's that and also the work day, reducing the work day to an 8.5-hour shift.
I
Well,
think all of our emergency services
100%.
deserve more money.
Absolutely. I mean, you drive past any
Ambos,
emergency service vehicle
fireys.
here in Melbourne and the riding all over the police cars.
They work bloody hard.
Also, behind every police officer is a family at home.
Exactly right. We were talking about this the other day, Jace. Every time a police officer goes to work, really, they're putting themselves out there to protect other people. And I can't even imagine what that is like, having a partner go and do that kind of work. Or it's the same with the army. It's the same with all of those careers. It must be hard for the families at home. You'd be stressed every time they're at work.
Well, Nikki will be able to shed some light on it. Her husband is a police officer in a specialist police unit. Morning, Nikki.
Morning,
How are you?
Nikki.
Morning, Jason, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries.
You're
Thanks
so
for your
welcome.
time.
We hear about this industrial action quite often. As a family member of someone who works in the force, how does this stuff affect you?
Yeah, so, in summary, really, we've been together for 11 years. And so we've been together throughout his time in the academy and to now where he is at the specialist unit. And each stage of his career came with its own difficulties and strains on our lives. And particularly for the past 2 years where he's been at the moment, I mean, we have a 2-year-old. I work in the legal industry. It's, it's a busy time for everyone. But this job, his job means that he's almost always at work, on call or at overtime. And there's been countless times where he's been called out during the night, times where he's had a rest day but was called out, and, that can happen 3 times a day. And I've also received countless text messages from him saying, that he was about to come home, but then a job's come up and he's no longer going to be able to come home and he doesn't know when he'll come home. So it really makes it difficult, especially when you've got a young family and you're trying to work yourself as well.
Nikki, that's the physical toll as well. What about the emotional toll that it takes on you personally? What's it like having a husband serve in such a high pressure and high risk role?
It's incredibly difficult. I won't lie. They, particularly in his job at the moment, he's in the specialist unit. So they respond to really high conflict jobs and incredibly hostile situations. And they do that every day, and you don't really see it in the news. You don't hear about it.
Yeah.
And it's hard because the conditions of the job and the pay, it just doesn't meet the standard, and it's not sustainable probably long term for us if he doesn't receive a pay rise, unfortunately. And
which is a shame because he's obviously doing it because he loves it.
And he loves it, yeah.
They absolutely love it. I've never met someone more passionate, and his team is more passionate about, protecting the community and, looking after.
All I'd say is anybody sitting here going, do they really deserve money? You think about it. When you need to ring O and need police somewhere, you expect them there straight away.
You rely on them.
Yeah, 100%
We
you do.
As a community, we do. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for jumping on with us today. I mean, this is obviously, Clint, it's a big industrial thing, and there's obviously a lot of complexities to it as well.
Yeah, of course. And the government is not just negotiating with police. There's been negotiations ongoing with paramedics, with nurses, with teachers. It's a fine balancing act. Just before we let Nikki go, Nikki, what's your message to, say, the Premier?
It's something that really needs to be addressed, and I feel as though my partner and his team and probably all the police in general just don't feel as though they're being heard at the moment.
Yep, agreed.
And it's time for a change, I think.
I got really annoyed when we had Jacinta Allen in the other week because...
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I we had a situation where we were waiting for an ambulance to help an old lady who'd fallen down at the Boundary Hotel, an hour and a half, and an ambo rocked up by himself. And she was like, well, if it was a priority, I promise the ambulance would have been there. Can tell you now, mate, if it was your mother lying on the ground for an hour and a half, you would have wanted them there straight away.
Totally. And the issue is our police officers and paramedics and AMBO workers, they're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And they're all there to try and help people. So there's obviously, many issues at play here. Hey, 13 24 10, if you are a policeman who is walking out on the job, Clint, how will it affect people? Because it seems scary, the police walking out on the job.
I don't want to say it sounds more dramatic than it is, but it is only impacting Broadmeadows today and also Glen Waverley, the police training academy. So look,
if you're one of the robbers in Home Alone, it doesn't mean it's free game today.
No.
It's not widespread, but it is certainly an escalation of industrial action, and it sends a strong message to the state government that something needs to be done and done now.
13 24 10 is our number to join us on the air. Yeah,
we love our police.
We love the cops.
We're big supporters of them in here.
Yeah, and when
you do a great job.
They do.
All the police officers listening to this,
and anybody out there listening at the moment, when you want help, you expect them to be there.
Yeah.
So let's chuck them more money. Let's give them better conditions. 13 24 10 is our number if you want to weigh in on it, especially if you are a police officer. We'd love to hear from you this morning on Nova. Hey, we're talking about the cops going on strike today. Certain areas of the Victorian Police are walking out over a pay rise dispute. I was talking to a mate of mine who owns a coffee shop, and they had a situation on the weekend where there was someone down there hassling all the customers. And he rang the cops, and it took the cops about an hour to get there, and he wasn't angry at the police.
Yeah.
He was just angry at how understaffed they are.
Yeah. It seems like all our emergency services are in a similar boat.
Yeah, and I witnessed a crime at the start of the year, which the cops would see every day, and that's that stuff stays with you.
Yeah, they do a great job, our Victorian police officers.
This industrial action, just to paint a picture of how unique it is and historic, it's the first time police in Victoria have walked off the job in a quarter of a century.
Wow,
yeah, right.
They're at breaking point.
So they need a resolution.
Well, no one will understand it more than Megan, who is joining us on the air. Your entire family are police officers. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're well,
good.
Megan. What's happening in your family?
So my dad has been in the job for 22 years.
Yep.
Amazing.
And then my sister has been in the job about 5 years, and then my brother-in-law has been in the job about 4 years.
Police. There are police families. There's a lot of families that are all police officers.
Can
like
imagine
that,
marrying into that. Ooh.
Yeah. So my dad at the moment has actually been off for a year, and I'm going to try and not get emotional because he's suffering PTSD, and that's what people don't see is the fact that there is some police officers out there. Don't get me wrong, that are very, they just put on the uniform just for a bit of power, but there's also people out there that just do it for the good of their own heart, and that's my dad. And, he just went at breaking point, and he's been off for a year, and he's actually met up with quite a number of police officers that are the exact same, and I think that the money is going to help with that, but I think there needs to be a lot of things done in Victoria Police.
Megan, Can I ask, what was he struggling with? Was it being burnt out, overworked?
It's not being burnt out. It's more, people don't understand that they see stuff that normal people don't see.
Yeah.
Like they have to go and deliver death messages to parents who have just lost their child in a car accident, or they have someone that's drug intoxicated coming at them with a knife. That's not normal. It's just not normal.
Hey Megan, is your dad your hero?
Oh, 100%. He's one of the best men you'll ever meet. And it's actually been really hard for our family. And I think it's hard because we've also got my sister, who's his daughter, who's followed his footsteps. And you're worried that that's going to happen to them. But there needs to also be more support in regards to counselling as well. Because it's all well and good to say that you've got counselling services there for the police officers. But men in that generation will not put their hand up to go, I need help. You know what I mean? It should be compulsory.
Hey,
Megan, your family obviously do a very great job, and you can hear the stress that families go through when other family members who work in the force put themselves on the line every day.
It's worth pointing out also that the Police Association do a significant job in this space as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Megan, I hope your dad's doing okay, mate. And
Thank you, and I appreciate you guys bringing awareness to this. And
I think the pay is just a small thing that
Yeah.
will obviously help them doing that job.
All right, let's go to Billy now. Billy, you are a police officer, mate. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's frustrating that it's reached this point, and you just keep hearing the political spin, and you get told that it's all happening in good faith from the government's end, and you just sit here banging your head against a brick wall. Like you see the slogans on the side of the police cars, like one of them being 900 vacancies, 900 off sick, and your shows are one of the platforms the organisation's using to advertise our career when, well, all these vacancies could be filled by the people that are currently off sick, and I'm one of those 900. And once we're off, it's like we're seen as damaged goods, and let's just band-aid fix it and replace them. And if you don't fix the culture of everything, then
so it's not just about cash, Billy.
Another 7 years.
It's not just the cash here. What else do you want?
I think there's a symbolism to the cash as well. Like as Megan just said, speaking about the trauma. Like you go into this sort of knowing that you're going to be exposed to that, and you most of us do bring, particularly in this generation, I know it's changing a little bit, bring a lot of self-care to what we do, and you find a way to get through that stuff. But then when there's moments like this where you don't feel supported by being told, oh, you're not worth this, you're not worth that.
I hear.
You start to question, why do you do it? And Clint, I know you're a big D's man, and you had two of your high-profile players, exploring options with other clubs. It's 900 in my football club, so to speak. And in an AFL environment, there'd be an external review immediately to address that. Like,
if that many people are leaving.
Yeah, that's a worry.
Hey, all
that's
the
a good
best,
point,
Billy.
Billy.
Thanks for sharing with us.
I mentioned before, like I witnessed quite a violent crime at the start of the year, and it really messed me up and stayed with me. And the respect I had for the cops that day was just like, this is just an everyday job
That's
for them.
what they deal with day in.
Like it
day
really blew me away.
Look, there's no doubt that our Victorian police do a great job. Hopefully, they can come to a resolution.
And we're not just a mouthpiece for the Victoria Police members.
No, God, no.
So
we're not on the
if there's
coin.
someone from the state government who wants to reach out to us, and we'll happily have them on the show.
Yeah, but let's be honest, no bullshit. I don't want the political chat.
Of course.
No.
If you're going to get on the show, like at least be honest.
Also, if you see a police officer walking down the street, just remind them that they're doing a great job and we're grateful
Yeah,
for
say
them.
thank you.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a good day. Jason Lauren.
Wake up feeling good.
On Nova 100.
Jason Lauren.
Follow them on socials.